have to start by telling you that I started this recording and then set down my tripod and was all ready to record and did the whole thing, and then turned around the video and I had 1 second of film. So this is take 2, so we'll hope this time it actually works out. I wanted to update everybody as I'm just over a month out from my Appalachian Trail through hike. And it's coming up really fast, and it's also dragging horribly. I can't decide if it's just going too fast or going too slow. I realized that recently that there are maybe lots of folks out there that didn't know that I was going to do this thing. I figured I'd just give a quick update. I've gotten a bunch of questions lately, so I'll answer a couple of those and then just give a quick update about my training. Yes, I am hiking the Appalachian Trail. 2,193 miles in this year, 2020, from Springer Mountain, Georgia to Mount Katahdin, Maine. It goes through 14 states, and it's going to take me about 5.5 months. I was asked recently how many hours it would take. I haven't done that math. I'm not going to. So I have 2 typical answers to this question. I'm leaving in what's called the bubble. There are over 100 people registered to start their thru hikes within a few days of me, and I likely see people every single day on the trail, and probably most likely be sleeping near several people. I will have times without being around everyone, but it's a typically busy time of the year for the trail. So I will have 100 of my closest friends. Proximity, maybe not emotionally close. But also, my other answer to this question is that I am leaving with a friend of mine who has wanted to do the trail longer than I knew that it existed. And so we're starting together, and we're going to do as much together as we can, starting with the first 2 weeks and then reevaluating as we go from there. And if we can stick together or maybe nearby each other, we're both going to be out there through hiking the Appalachian Trail this summer. And if we're not at the same camp every night, we're both in it together anyway. So we'll figure out how long we hike together, but we're definitely starting together and doing the first 2 weeks that way. I'll be in town every 3 to 5 days or so to resupply for groceries, do laundry, shower, all the things that I can do in town, eat a restaurant meal, charge my electronics, including my Anchor battery pack there. So I will likely shuttle to and from towns. The Appalachian Trail crosses a road every 4 miles, average of every 4 miles or so, I believe. So there's fair amounts of opportunity to be able to get on and off trail if and when I need to. Mostly I'll resupply in grocery stores or convenience stores, Dollar Generals, things like that. And occasionally my brother will be sending me some packages, mostly things for my contacts, maybe a couple other supplies, other kinds of gear that maybe I want to switch out partway through that I need him to send me. So that's going to be one of the things that my brother's doing for me while I'm out doing this big long trip. So then after resupplying, I'll likely stay in a hostel or a hotel, or I may just go back out to trail. So to camp that night. So it just kind of depends on how quickly I get things done, if I need to upload videos or recharge electronics, if I need to, sleep in an actual bed. Things like that will dictate how and when I stay in town, or if I just go right back out. Also, money will dictate some of that. But yeah, I'll decide whether or not I hike into town, do those things, hike out of town, or potentially spend the night and then leave the next day. No, I am not sleeping in a tent. I hammock camp, so I will be in between some trees with my hammock. I have a Sparrow from Dream Hammock and a tarp that goes over that, so a Winter Palace from Hammock Gear tarp that will keep out the elements. I also have an underquilt, a 30-degree underquilt, and a 20-degree top quilt from Cedar Ridge Outdoors. That will be my insulation. And then I also will be carrying a sleeping pad. It's a Z-Lite Soul, Thermarest Z-Lite Soul. And then with that, I can use it both in my hammock or if I go to ground or while I'm in the Smokies when I have to stay in the shelters. So along the way there are shelters. They are 3-sided lean-tos. There's 3 walls and a roof. But I will probably not be staying in the shelters for a couple of reasons. Snoring and mice are the 2 big ones for me. So I already sleep with earplugs in on a quiet night in the woods, so if I had somebody snoring right next to my head, that might make that more challenging for me. And also, often I hear that the shelters may have rodent issues, and so to avoid the rodents being in my quilt with me or running over me, and then also they carry things like neurovirus and other such illnesses. So avoiding that is part of my goal. So no, I won't be staying in shelters, but I'll probably be staying near them. So because often they have a privy and water sources nearby, so then I can still get water and things in the morning or at night before I go to bed to have all that available. While I'm sure my mother believes that this is only to drive her crazy, I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. One, I mean, it's pretty awesome, right? 2, actually I found out about the trail from a book that I had stolen from my dad. It was A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. I listened to it on Books on Tape and actually read the paperback too, and I fell in love with the idea. I thought it was really cool, and even with the a book about thru hiking by somebody who didn't even thru hike, may sound like a silly reason to go do this thing, but it really inspired me. The history that he shares about the trail and the ecology and other things just was really intriguing to me, and so I fell in love with the idea. I told my dad that I wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail, and he replied with, "That sounds hard." I also didn't disagree, but was like, no, Dad, I think it'll be really fun. And, yeah, but it'll be really cool. And he's like, and hard. So we had several conversations about the hard thing that I wanted to do. And he thought it was pretty cool. So it was one of the things that we talked quite a bit about while he was dying. And so now getting to do this thing is pretty awesome. Some updates on my training. I have been doing as many longer walks as I can as time allows. I've been recently, like this week, I did a 12.25-ish mile hike, and which is technically more mileage than I planned to do starting out, but because I have no elevation in Illinois, super flat, I am tending to go further miles, so I hiked 5 hours and did 12 and a half, well, 12.2-ish miles over the weekend. And I also, right before Christmas, I did a couple of longer hikes 3 days in a row, just making sure my gear is carrying well, making sure my shoes and feet are doing what they need to do. I have one blister issue that I'm still trying to figure out, but I'm pretty close, I think, to a solution. The training, my plan is just to take it slow when I get out there, so do as much conditioning, both walking and other strength training and flexibility and mobility things, and cardio. I plan to take it slow, so shorter days, shorter mile days when I get out there to start. So it's not to push it and to condition properly while I'm out there. I guess the only other thing that I have to say is thank you. A huge thank you to all of the folks that support me, have supported me in getting this far. Whether you donated to my Fundly or so the one big thing that I want to say is thank you. To all the people that have been supporting me and cheering me on already, and I'm not even out there, it really means a lot. As much as I mentioned driving my mother nuts, I also couldn't do this without her. She's a huge support system for me, and even though I think she's even more stressed about it than I am, I truly couldn't do this without her support. She's awesome. But also thank you to my brother, who's going to be helping me out a whole lot while I'm out there, and to the folks who have been supportive of me, particularly supportive of me over the last several months. You know who you are, and I couldn't be doing this without you. I just really can't imagine doing this without you. As I've been preparing to do this, it keeps coming to the forefront that I am not doing this alone. Not just because I'm hiking in a bubble and that I'm going with a friend, but all of the people who are supporting me, who have my back, who have cheered me on, who believe in me, really truly make this possible. I share this with you. I do this with you. as much as I may be out on a mountaintop somewhere by myself, I am not alone. I know that I have each and every one of my support system cheering me on from afar. And it really means a lot, the support that I've gotten and the support that I know is still coming. So, thank you. Truly, thank you. I couldn't do this without all of you. I am truly grateful for the stars aligning as they have to make this a possibility for me. I understand I'm coming from an extremely privileged place, to even have the option to do something this extreme. And I acknowledge that, and I'm truly grateful for all the opportunities that have been placed in my way to make these things possible for me. All my love to you. I'll check in again soon.